I know I've said this before, and I know you guys are probably tired of hearing it because at this point it's almost a broken record, but the heroes cannot catch a break. I am honestly astonished. This is probably one of the animes or one of the media in general where I don't think I've seen the heroes or main characters lose so badly. When you have a storytelling event, you know, you have something happening, you have the climax, and then you have the resolution and stuff afterwards. And a lot of times in that climax, you know, said hero seems like they're defeated, and then all of a sudden, you know, whether it's the power within or some other assistance from somebody else, they strive, get the upper hand, and then win in the end. And it just ends up kind of being cyclical. It's like, okay, how is the heroes, how are they supposed to win in this said battle? With My Hero Academia, it is absolutely different. Like, this is totally a different anime than it was when it first started out. It has gone to the point of, let's just give all the plot armor to the villains, and then let's let the heroes just, you know, figure things out. It's almost to the point of a kamikaze kill. In that anime, when the heroes were dying, it was like one after another, and it was like, dang, okay, all right. This, it's like, yes, we may not have as many deaths as that anime, but in My Hero Academia, it's the events that's happening. Like, you have the event here is Spinner, who is the perfect pawn, and he doesn't even really realize he's a pawn. He's even said himself he's willing to follow someone no matter what. And it's absolutely hilarious what strives Spinner to give that one extra oomph to put the hand on the warp guy is the fact that he's with Shigaraki and they're talking about League of Legends. Well, I mean, they named it different, but it's pretty much League of Legends. He's just kind of relating to him. That is his idol. That is who he's looking up to. So to find out that his idol, the one he's looking up to, is someone that is a fellow gamer like him, he's like, okay, I could do it. And then he raises the hand up. I feel bad for Spinner and what has happened to him. But before we go on, make sure you guys are liking the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed because we'll definitely continue to talk about what in the world is happening here. And of course, check on the reaction on Patreon because the reaction on this episode was absolutely crazy. I cannot believe that they were able to resurrect loosely, but revive, wake up, however you want to say it, the warp user Kurogiri. It sucks because here it is, it was a grand plan to split all the villains up. Now that plan is out the window because for all intents and purposes able to get back together. I for sure thought Shigaraki was about to get warped away because they were showcasing what's happening to Shigaraki and Deku, but there was no warp gate on him. Now, there might be one in the future, but at least in this episode, the ones that got warped was Dabi and Toga. So Toga, of course, going on with twice his quirk, which we need to get into in a moment. But yeah, unfortunately, our heroes are not looking to be in the best shape, especially with All For One getting younger and more powerful. On a good note, we have Shoji here. His words finally fell on the hearts of the 12,000 people that were actually here. Now, honestly, I was gonna say like soldiers, but technically there were people that were rioting. And one thing when you have a riot is they're not necessarily quote unquote loyal followers. So yes, they were pointed in this direction by All For One. And yes, they had their goal to break into the hospital, but once they broke into the hospital, it was like, okay, what's your plan now? The only one that really had a plan was Spinner and some of his associates that are trying to instigate stuff as a mob. All they knew was like, yeah, let's break the system. Okay, let's get into the hospital. And just like Shoji was saying before, it's like, okay, you get into the hospital, what's your plan? They didn't have one. So they break into the hospital and they go in there and see the doctors, the nurses, all of them just kind of gathered together peacefully. The doctor over there, Yoshi looking, and you know, with the regular humans, and it just broke the will of the people that went in there. Like, they were following behind Spinner, and then they stopped, and then they kind of just thought about it. It's like, what are we doing here? And then it started to see the light. What Shoji was saying that, yes, we have been oppressed. Yes, we have been overlooked. But this isn't the right answer to vindicate ourselves or have a means of communication, just going around just breaking things and rioting. And what he said last week holds true. Shoji's words finally reached the hearts of those that actually went into the hospital. They saw the error of their ways, and then they were able to go back and be spokespersons themselves to be like, hey guys, what are we doing? To see that one guy that literally stopped the axe with his bare hands by someone else, you gotta remember, these are just common people. These aren't people that are technically like trained. These aren't supposed like villains that go out and actually want to carry out and kill people. These aren't people that are even trying to be geared towards heroes. They are just regular people that are tired and had enough. So finally, they were able to see the error of their ways and like, just kind of wake up and just look around like, what am I doing? So yes, I'm glad that the Shoji's words reached them. I'm glad that they were able to see that, yes, there's an issue in society right now. And yes, it needs to be answered and resolved, but the means to get there isn't the way that they are doing it in this mob mentality right now. So good on Shoji. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this battle is over. Like his battlefield is probably the first battlefield that's actually concluded. Now, granted, they lost in the scheme of things because they were able to wake up Kurogiri, and he's able to warp people and warp things around, which is unfortunate, but because he's able to warp, Sad Man's death parade marches on. I gotta hand it to Toga. I mean, she really showcased how intelligent she can be when she actually puts her mind to things. Like, I always felt like she was a pretty capable fighter, and I know I've discussed before in previous videos how she would make a great and awesome assassin. But previously, she always used like hit and run tactics, and because she was always cloak and dagger, she needed other people around to kind of make that misdirection so she can bob and weave. In an all-out battle, she's really at a disadvantage. So thus the water, waves was great cover for her. But as they were saying, the heroes were kind of getting the upper hand. And so she had to make a decision. And now, before, like I said, she's always hit and run tactics. She started to make a grand strategy as far as what she should do. The fact that she tricked Froppy, and if you notice in the fight, I don't know if it's any type of significance, but in the fight when she had the Nomu attack Froppy and then she was over Froppy, she stole Froppy's headset, the headgear with the goggles that look like eyes, you know, to make her look more like a frog. She took it away from Froppy. So I don't know if she's gonna turn to Froppy again later, and then the one with the headset is Toga and the one without is Froppy. I don't know how it's gonna go, but the fact that she was able to sip Twice's blood, also get warped to All For One's battlefield. It's crazy because here it is, Dobby's there, Twice is there, All For One and his younger self is there. Like, that battle was already at a disadvantage because Endeavor lost an arm, has been seriously injured, and yet still trying to fight All For One himself. Now he has to deal with his son that has come through here that wants revenge. And then Twice, the Sad Man's death parade going on. It's just like, I kind of would be like the expression Endeavor had, like, well, what now? What can you do? The only thing I can think of is like things with AoE attacks, like maybe Endeavor is able to do a big AoE fire attack to deal with the Twice minions to kind of corral them, which is crazy because if you look at the past of My Hero Academia and how they introduced Twice, you never would have guessed that Twice would be so powerful and so strong of a character that they, of all the villains, he was the one that had to die. I'll be honest, Twice's death was really sad because you started to learn more and more about the character that you kind of, which was intended, kind of relate to him, and then bam, he's killed off by a hero, which of course is what instigated the whole issue with the society breaking down. This is a grand battle if there ever was one. From the previews that it was seen, I don't know how this is going to work, but the preview seemed like it was saying that it made a line saying that yesterday's villain could be today's hero, which is like, wait a minute. Is that trying to say that one of the villains that you see here is going to turn good? A weird line by the preview. And normally I don't really talk about the preview itself because, you know, spoilers maybe. But as someone that is just trying to get as many clues as possible and just grabbing at them, I mean, I'm just like, wait, huh? All I know is if you're a My Hero Academia fan, you are eating good right now. I mean, you have a freaking banquet in front of you because you might have gotten scraps in the first few seasons, but now, man, you are, whoo, you gotta be stuffed because this is amazing. Each and every episode. I for sure thought that they were gonna wait until the whole Toga fight battle because they were alluding to it. I thought for sure it was going to be like kind of like a next week thing, but when they went straight into it, I'm like, oh snap, we're going into Toga, and like, oh snap, she activated it. Overall, amazing episode, love it. Although I really do feel bad about the heroes because they're not winning. They are not winners right now. Somehow they will be, but right now we're still, like I said, in that curve in the climax, and who knows how this is going to be resolved. But tell me what you guys think in the comments, because my lord, I was amazed at every second of this episode, and I'm looking forward to next week. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. But make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed, because we'll definitely discuss more on this and other anime here on the channel. Please don't be a stranger, and I'd love to see you guys around more often. Meantime, please take care, be safe, and Lord willing, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.